Hi, everybody. We're Mike and Brenda Baker, and today we are on another session in 7 issues that men deal with in remarriage. And today's topic is when yelling at kids becomes exhausting.
Okay, when yelling at kids becomes exhausting. Well, let's talk about the obvious point number 1. Why are you yelling? When did that ever work? All right, sure, maybe your mom and dad screamed at you as a kid and maybe you stepped up and got some things done, but you didn't enjoy it, did you? I mean, I got yelled at as a kid constantly. I was told I was stupid every day for, as long as I can remember. And I had a very dysfunctional childhood, but I have never seen a positive kid come from a household where it was constant yelling. So why are you yelling? What are you hoping to accomplish? What is it getting done? Do you feel better when it's done? I'll bet you don't. All right. So that's your quick number 1. So number 2 is, what advice have you sought? Okay, let's be completely honest here. Dudes don't like to ask for advice. We don't like to ask for directions. We don't like to read instructions. We don't like to do any of that because we can do it because we're men, you know. But I mean, come on. What advice have you sought? Do you have, and I'm not talking counselors. Counselors are not always the answer because quite honestly, counselors don't have the greatest numbers either, okay? But look around your church, look around your community. Are there people with kids either older than yours or maybe roughly the same age? And do those kids act the way that you wish your kids act?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Ask them why. Do you ever think about that? Say, hey, I've got some issues in my house. I am not sure what to deal with. What is it you do with your kids that makes them listen? You know, what is it you do with your kids that I'm not doing? Is there anything you notice me doing with my kids? And don't be afraid. And then shut up. Don't be afraid to take feedback.
Right. Now, another thing that we like to remind people is be sure that the people that you're asking for advice have the fruit that you want. A lot of times people will have good fruit, but they don't have a blended family, and things are very different in a blended family. That's really why we started this YouTube channel. It's why I started my blog years ago, was to help people realize that blended families have a lot of drama and things that happen that can tip that delicate balance so fast, it'll make your head spin. And so be sure that the people that you're asking have a similar situation or, you know, have experience helping others that have a blended family before you take their advice.
Yeah, because I mean, you know, it's really easy to just kind of see somebody's kids in the park one day and go, oh, their kids listen. Well, maybe that's the one day that they were listening.
Yeah.
Okay, when I say you're looking at their fruit and you're like, oh, these are consistent. People that you consistently see. You know, in a blended family, there's a lot more outside influence than normal.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, if there's a bully at school or a kid a friend that you don't like, you have the ability in a normal situation to just put the chopping block on that. All right, you're not seeing little Bill anymore. I don't like his example.
Yeah.
You know, or you're not seeing. Not the case in a blended family, especially if those kids that they're getting impacted by negatively are in the other household.
Yeah.
Because you have zero to say unless it's an abuse issue, okay, or an addiction issue, which is not what we're talking about here, but they're just outside influences you can't control. Maybe you don't like your ex-in-laws. Tough.
Yeah.
You can't control that. So, you know, advice. Don't be afraid to look for advice. Here's the other thing I would tell you. Okay, I've known many preachers, and a lot of preachers, although they have great hearts, don't get a lot of training in family training. Okay, so
and in marriage counseling.
So if you ever look at your preacher and the preacher's kids, and you wonder, why are those kids out of control? Because they've got as much training in that area as you do.
Yeah.
All right. So before you go seeking your preacher out or your pastor out to say, hey, I need answers for this, take a look around your congregation. There are men in there who are doing it, maybe not right, but better than you. All right. And start to take your step up from there. If your preacher's one of them, great. Talk to the elders in your church. If you're not a churchgoer, that's fine. Mm-hmm. You still have communities you hang out in, and you still see people who seem to have that part put together.
Right. And we're always here for you because we've had a lot of training in all of this.
Yeah.
Our oldest will be 30 years old in just a couple of months. So we've got a lot of parenting experience, and especially in the blended family realm, that's what we are here for. So you're welcome to get a hold of us, schedule a call with us, that sort of thing. We're always here for you in that realm as well.
Right. And so third and last, where is your humility? Okay. A lot of guys, we're prideful, or we get prideful, and we don't want to ask for help. You know, it kind of goes back to have you sought advice, but if you show no humility, then your kids will learn no humility. Okay. If you can't be transparent, if you can't admit your mistakes, if you can't look at your kids sometimes and say, you know what, I don't know, I just don't know, and be willing to also say, but I'll find the answer. Okay, they're looking to you for leadership. That's leadership. Leadership is being able to say, I don't know, and being the one to, I'm going to go find you an answer. So, you know, you have to be humble to be a dad. You have to be humble to be, a husband. It's just the way it is. And without humility, you're a dictator.
Yeah.
That's all it is. All right, you're managing chaos. And sure, we've seen households where it's you have to do this, you have to do this, and you have to do this. And you know what? Those kids will perform like nobody's business. Yep, I got it. Why? Because people like to know their parameters. So the kids like to know their parameters. However, when the kids leave the house,
bam, they are gone.
They're gone.
Yep.
Gone. Why? Because they were kept under such strict rule, they never had any opportunity to experience what life or family was about. That's not family, that's military. I was military, National Guard for 24 years. That's how the military does things. That's not, okay, and that's not always, in a military setting, sure. And there's a reason a lot of guys get out, so there you go. But just keep in mind that you've got to run your household like a family, and you've got to do it with humility.
Exactly. Now, because you've been divorced, you might be thinking, well, how am I going to show my kids what a real family is like? Well, you can. And we know this because we have. Mm-hmm. We both had very difficult first marriages, and we actually brought our family together to be a family. Mm-hmm. Now, there's been issues. There's been some things that we haven't loved about some of the things that have happened, but we are a family. We took two families and became one. And so if we can do it, so can you. And that's what we're here to do, is to help you to blend your family together as one.
Yeah. It's not easy.
No.
And it's not always, you don't have success 100% of the way. What you're shooting for is the most success possible.
Right.
All right. And if you have this picture of this picture perfect Hollywood scene, like you see when they talk about step parents and how they co-parent and all that, that's not reality.
No.
Okay. And the sooner you accept that doing the right thing is important, regardless of the outcome, then the outcome will still be important, but it won't tear your heart when it doesn't. They won't tear your heart nearly as much, I guess you could say, when it doesn't turn out the way you want it to. Mm-hmm. But we're going to talk about dealing with failures in a later video.
Yes. Right. So anything else on that
Nope.
topic? Okay. Well, we thank you so very much for being here with us today. We hope that this session really helps you. And there is also another playlist that will be for women, the 7 issues that women deal with in remarriage. And so go ahead and go over to that one as well. It'll help you, and it doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman, both will help you to see the perspective on whichever side. So if you have any questions or comments, please leave those below. We'll get right back to you. And we thank you again for trusting us and being here with us today. We'll talk to you again soon. Bye.